Hey guys, hope you are having a fantastic day. If you are new to the channel, my name is Nathan Kolk at Parkway Subaru in Wilmington, North Carolina, and online at meyouandsubaru.com. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. I've previously done videos where I show you different features of different models in the Subaru lineup, but today I want to make a video for current Subaru owners and do what I would normally do as a delivery of the vehicle. Show you how to use all the buttons and all the features inside your car. So I figured this would be helpful for my current customers, for people in the online community, and anybody else that may want to see it. So I'll typically begin with an exterior walk around for the customer, sometimes even starting at the back here. And so to open the rear gate, there's a number of ways to do it. Probably the most common is using the key fob, and just below the blue Subaru button, see if we can get a close-up shot of it, you can see the rear gate button. If you press it once, it just unlocks the rear gate, but if you press and hold it, and if you wait for the second beep, it will then open up automatically. So as you come inside, you see you got a ton of cargo space in here. This is the cargo cover that clips in here and over here, and then can cover up your belongings back here. And it comes standard on all the limited models, and honestly comes along with many of the other models as well. But if you don't like this here, there is a storage compartment for it down below in here. Another neat feature that tends to surprise people a little bit are these handles in the back side, where you can actually just pull it and it folds the seat down. And I'll show you on this side as well. Some people ask about the seat belt hanging when that seat is down. There is a way to remove that center seat belt to make it go back up and not be kind of distracting if you are looking out your back window from the driver's seat. To shut the rear gate, you can either press the button on here again, you can press the button up here, or you can press the button inside the car that I'm going to show you in a little bit. As you move around to the driver's side of the driver's side door, you don't really notice it in the daytime, but at nighttime there is a little light. It looks like it's flashing in this camera, but it's a solid light in real life that will illuminate the door, so it's easier to see when you're approaching the vehicle. With the smart key fob, you can leave the key fob in your pocket, put your hand in the door handle, it'll beep and unlock the door. Moving inside the car, another neat feature of the smart key fob is the memory seat position. A lot of people are used to the buttons for your memory seats, and how you would set those is when you turn the car on, obviously in park, set your seat to the position you like, and press the set and whichever number you'd like to set it at. But to take it to the next level, you can actually set your key fob to remember your seat position so that when you approach the car, the seat moves to that designated position. And to do that, you do it with the car off and the doors locked. And then you'll press the blue unlock button and the set button at the same time. It'll beep and the doors will unlock. And now this key fob is set up to this seat position. So anytime you approach the vehicle when the doors are locked, with this key fob, it will move the seat to your designated position. So technically you could have 4 seat positions if you have button 1, button 2, key fob 1, and key fob 2 as all 4 separate positions, which is kind of nice to have. Moving down here, there is a bunch of buttons that people are often intimidated by, but they're really not too complicated. This first one is your power rear gate button. One problem that a lot of people have is if the doors are locked and you press this button, you'll hear 3 beeps. It just goes beep, beep, beep. And all that means is the rear gate is locked. So you hit the unlock button and you press it again and it will open and close the rear gate. Moving along, you have the dimmer switch. This dims the lights inside the car when you're driving, when the headlights are on. I like to dim my lights at night so that I'm not distracted driving with the large displays inside the car. This is a blank switch. And then this is the memory height button. So if you didn't want your rear gate to open up all the way, you could set it using this button. All you have to do is open the rear gate, press the memory button, pull the rear gate down to the level that you would like to have it set at, and then press the rear gate close button on the actual rear gate and hold it down until it beeps. I have another video that I'll link below that shows you in detail how to do that. This is for traction control. You should never, most people don't need to turn this off unless you're doing some off-roading. Sometimes it's good to turn off your traction control. Blind spot detection. There is a black rectangle inside the mirror right here that lights up when a car is in your blind spot. But if for whatever reason you wanted to turn that off, you do have that option to turn it off there. Lane departure warning. This is the one that beeps at you if you swerve out of your lane. This is different from lane keep assist, which will actually correct your steering if you swerve out of your lane. And I'll show you that button in the future as well. The last button is your automatic collision avoidance, the emergency braking. The only time you might turn that off is if you're going through a drive-through car wash, because it'll see the big brushes. It will slam on the brakes while you're in the car wash, and that is not what you want it to do. One more thing from this side over here, the headlights. You can see from here you have an off, an auto, and then you have daytime running lights, and you can turn the headlights on from there. What I suggest to people, especially in this limited trim level, which is the most popular, just leave it in the auto. They will come on and off at night automatically. And then if you use this inside ring and put it in the on position, that is your fog light. So not only will your headlights come on at night when it gets dark, but your fog lights will come on as well. The Limited with the option package 24 gets you the high beam assist as well. So if you push the stick forward like you're putting on your high beams, the high beams will also come on and off automatically depending upon if there's oncoming traffic or not. So now that we're inside the car, we are going to start it up. Once again, with the Smart Key fob, you just put your foot on the brake until the light turns green, and then you press it. And even that is interesting. A lot of people's natural tendency is to press and hold the start-stop button until it starts, but that is not necessary. All you have to do is just press it once. And typically the first thing we'll do is pair the phone. And to do that, you're just going to go to settings on your phone as well as on the car. And then you're going to go to Bluetooth on your phone if you have an iPhone, and then there's a device connection setting on Androids. Go to phone on here. And then you would just hit add device, and then on your phone you will see that it says Subaru BT. And you select that, and then you hit confirm, and it will pair. From there, we're going to go to the radio. These tiles are movable like they are on most phones. And so on here, I'm going to move the radio to the main page because a lot of people do use it, and say we'll switch it with a Subaru Starlink app, which not a lot of people use. The radio is one of the most common used apps on this display. You have volume knob here, and this is also power. You just press FM, AM, and Sirius. And then these are your favorites down at the bottom. Anytime you want to save a favorite, you're going to tune to your channel. Say we're like the 80s on 8. You come down at the bottom and you press and hold it, and that will save that radio preset. So this is a combination of AM, FM, and Sirius XM channels. One feature that the Sirius XM channels have is this browse button. So you can press the browse, go to categories, and you have a whole list of the Sirius XM categories to help you find the channels a little bit easier. And with new cars, you do get a 4-month subscription to Sirius XM. To control the radio, other than with the buttons on the display here, the left side of the steering wheel has a lot of radio controls. So you have your volume here in the center, which can turn up and down the radio. The left and right arrows are going to scroll between the favorites that you have preset. The source button is going to change your source from FM to AM to Sirius XM. And then I will also show you the media tab, which will help you access whether it be a CD player, Bluetooth, so if you're using your phone for music, and the auxiliary tab. And then voice commands, so you can use voice commands to change the channels. And so you could say tune to 101.3 FM, or you could say Sirius channel 8 to tune to those channels. So those are the radio controls on there. I'm going to pan back over here. Another common one is obviously the phone. So after your phone is paired, you can see these tabs are kind of grayed out. They will be lit up once the phone is paired. And so you have these tabs, so your phone book will download. So you can scroll through your contacts on there. Your keypad if you wanted to dial my number, your recent phone calls, and you can set up your favorites on there as well. There is also a way to set up your messages to be read. So on Androids, that is selected by default on your phone, but on iPhones, there's a separate setting If you go to your Bluetooth settings, you hit the little blue eye and you have to swipe show notifications. And then, so when someone's calling you, there's a green and a red button to answer or hang up on the display. But probably more commonly, you have the answer and the hang up button on the steering wheel to answer and hang up the phone calls. If you are getting a phone call that you want to be private when there are other people in the car, you can just swipe answer on your phone call and the audio will not be through the speakers in the car. And so that is nice to have. You can also use the voice command button to place a phone call. Because it's downloaded your contacts, you can say, call Nathan or call Subaru or whoever you want to call just by pressing that. There is that. Let's move on to the navigation menu. So we're on the navigation menu, and by default, the first thing that I like to adjust when I get in a car for the first time is this little compassing that's going to change the orientation of the map. And there are 3 different views. By default, you have the north up, which can be a little bit confusing. If you're driving down and it says take a left, then that can look like a right on the display. But if you hit this, you can have the north up. This is called a 2D north up. You press it again and you're going to have a 3D north up, so you can see a little bit further ahead. This is my favorite view. Anytime you're searching to add a new destination, you're going to start with the menu button and you hit search for destination. Since the 2018 model, they have made it available to search either a business name or a full address. Obviously, full address is pretty easy. Just type it in. And then now, if you don't know the address and you're going to a business, you can just type the name of the business, looks like Costco has been typed in before here to pull that up. And so after you have typed in an address, I'll just use this one for example, this is what it looks like. And you have this star if you wanted to save it as a navigation favorite, or you can just hit go with a little bit of trip information listed there. I'm going to go back. Another menu under here we have is nearby places, list the point of interest. So there is literally endless things. There's even a helipad option on here if you need to find the nearest helipad. But I'm going to go ahead and go to favorites. You can set your home address, set your work address, and any other favorites you set are going to pop up down here. And then, those pop up there. To use voice commands for navigation, it can be a little bit tricky because it is very specific in terms of what it wants you to hear. When you know the address that you're going to, you have to say navigate to, and then say the full address including the city or state. If you're going to a business, you have to say find nearest and say the business name, or else it won't understand you. And then driving home, you have to say drive home. But these do pop up when you hit it on here. So navigate to, find nearest, and then there's even a help menu that's going to show you a number of other options there. So if you can't say go home, you can't say navigate home, you have to say drive home. Other tiles on here, like I mentioned, media. Once your phone is paired, you see Bluetooth is going to pop up. That will illuminate for Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, whatever you use. There are USB slots down here. There's 2 of them. So if you wanted to plug in an old iPod, or you can even load a flash drive with media on it and it will play it. The CD player is up top. And the other option is the auxiliary. So if you plugged in an old headphone jack, you can plug it in right there. Car info. This is some neat information. This one will show you the traction of your wheels. Those are green when you start driving, and then it'll turn red, or they'll turn orange if the wheel starts to slip. And then this side is just the angle of the road that you're on. Vehicle monitor is going to show your average speed and real-time fuel economy. But you can change these under preferences. So if you uncheck average speed and check oil temperature, this becomes your oil temperature. So you can monitor if your car is going to overheat. Maintenance, you can plug in maintenance reminders, plug in your dealership, so you can just call dealership or go to dealership. You can schedule events here, and there are a few preferences you can set up in there. So that's the car info tab. Under apps, so the most commonly used ones are going to be Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Travel Link. I'm not going to spend time going over Pandora, Starlink, or AHA because those are so rarely used. TravelLink is neat though. You get it free for 3 years with the new car. Fuel prices are listed by distance, price, or brand if you have the navigation. If you do not have navigation, it'll just be price and brand. You can load your favorite sports teams and get their scores. You can load your stocks, and you can load your weather information. So we are in Wilmington at Wrightsville Beach, so current 3 to 6 hour and a 5-day forecast. If you're going somewhere else, you can hit locations and change the location. Under settings, the most common one is probably this vehicle settings. There's some things that are good to at least be aware of. With the navigation, you can just leave the clock adjustment to automatic and it will change that automatically. Interior light just keeps track. It tells you how long to leave the interior lights on. Under keyless entry system, by default, when you open the driver door, it just unlocks the driver door. But if you wanted to open the driver door and all the doors unlock at the same time, you would hit that button there. So you don't have to get in the car and then hit the unlock button again for the other passengers. Auto door lock and unlock, this was a feature they added in 2018. Right now when the car gets to about 12 miles an hour, the doors automatically lock. The other option is so that as soon as you put it into drive for the doors to lock or to not automatically lock at all. Same thing with the unlock. Right now, when you open the driver door, all the other doors will unlock. The other options are when you turn the ignition off for all the doors to unlock, or when you put the car into park for all the doors to unlock. The defogger is on for 15 minutes and turns off automatically, and that is controlled with this button here. And then your automatic headlights. You can adjust how sensitive they are. The more sensitive, the earlier at night they'll turn on. The less sensitive, the later at night they'll turn on. Medium tends to do a good job with that. Wiper link just means when you turn on your windshield wipers, your headlights are going to turn on automatically. That is most of the menus on here. When you plug in your phone with the USB cable, whether you have an iPhone, the Apple CarPlay will open up automatically. And that is going to mirror your phone's display on here with support with a select number of apps. But one neat feature, when your phone is plugged in, the voice command system turns into Siri with the iPhone or Google Assistant with Android. And those voice command systems tend to work a little bit better than the Subaru voice command system for asking it detailed questions and navigation. If you have an Android, you do have to download the Android Auto app for that to work. And then once you download that and accept all the terms and conditions, you can open up the app and you can have your Google Maps or Waze. And if you're on iPhone, you have the option with the Apple Maps. Moving on down to the climate control. It is a dual zone climate control system with automatic functions. So you can see it has the temperature for the left side in here, temperature for the right side in here. And then there are vents in the back that reflect the driver's side temperature in the rear vents. It does not have a separate fan, so it uses the one fan to power the air for the front and the back. You've got your fan speed here in the middle, and it's indicated up here. This is just on off. This is automatic. So when you're on auto, and say you have it set at 72, the air that's blowing out of the vents is going to adjust to help you get to 72 degrees. If you hit the auto button again, you have full auto, it's going to adjust the temperature and the fan speed in order to get the car to 72 degrees the quickest. To cancel out of full auto, you just have to change the fan speed. Recirculate is down here. If the 72, and you see this is 69, if you want them all to be the same, you just hit synchronize and it will adjust that. Mode is going to change where the air is flowing, and that's indicated on that display. Front defrost, rear defrost, and for mirrors, if you have the heated exterior mirrors. Heated seats, you got 3 levels of control for the heat. Same on this side. So that is the climate control system. Moving down from the climate control, you have your shifter. So by default, it's pretty standard. You got a park, reverse, neutral, and drive. A lot of people ask about M. M is for your manual mode, and there are paddle shifters on the steering wheel. You can see the plus here and the minus over here where you can manually change the gears. In Wilmington, things are pretty flat, but if you live in the mountainous areas, Sometimes it's helpful to stay in a lower gear so you're not relying on your brakes as much to brake your car going down a hill. Continuing to move down, you have an electronic parking brake. You can pull it to engage it, and then you put your foot on the brake and press it down to disengage it. Or if your seatbelt is on and you are in drive, you hit the gas pedal, this will automatically be released so that you don't accidentally drive with your parking brake on. Hill start assist temporarily holds your parking brake when you are getting started on a hill. So you press this and a light will show up on the dashboard. You can see the green light on the tachometer. So you don't roll backwards when you're getting started on a hill. Press again, turn off. X mode is like an off-road mode that does a number of functions. I have a whole separate video on that where that is pretty much going to help you not get stuck in sticky situations. Now we're going to talk about the Eyesight system. There are 2 cameras on either side of the mirror. And what those are doing, it's kind of like an extra set of eyes on the road. What we say is it's meant to assist the driver, not replace the driver. Most importantly, the emergency functions are on all the time. If I put this car in drive and try to hit one of these cars in the parking lot, it would not let me do it. It would slam on the brakes. The Limited one also has reverse automatic braking. So if you're going to back into something, it will also slam on the brakes for you. But a few of the other functions, as I mentioned before, the lane departure warning, which is turned off on this button down here, will beep at you if you swerve out of your lane or change lanes without using a blinker. But there's another function called lane keep assist, which is using this button here. When this is turned on, there's a light. That symbol is on the center display underneath 0 miles per hour. I'll toggle it a couple times. So this one will actually correct your steering if you're about to swerve out of your lane. This activates when it can see the lanes in the road and will correct your steering. The lane departure warning waits till after you've departed the lane before it beeps at you. And you can tell if it sees the lanes in the road because there will be 2 vertical white lines on this center display that show you which lanes it sees, whether it be the left or the right. Then you have what my favorite feature is the adaptive cruise control. So most cruise controls have an on, off, and then a set switch, and it's no different. So you would turn on your cruise control, and then you pull it down to set your speed. Say you set your speed at 60 miles an hour and the car in front of you slows down to 50, it will then slow you down to 50 without you touching your brakes. And the neat thing about Subarus is that it will actually slow you down all the way to a complete stop very smoothly and comfortably. It does take some getting used to, but it does work. You can see the 4 horizontal lines in front of the vehicle on the center display there. And you can adjust, those are determining the distance that you are pacing behind a vehicle. So these 2 buttons are going to decrease and increase the distance that you're pacing. The minimum, I believe, is about 1 second, and the maximum is about 2.5 seconds. Rather than car lengths, they do seconds because 2.5 seconds at 40 miles an hour is going to be different than at 75 miles an hour. And so you can adjust that using those buttons there. Another safety feature worth mentioning, I mentioned previously, is the blind spot detection. There's a light in the mirror that lights up on the inside if there's a car in your blind spot, both on the left and over on the right side. And another function of those, if you have your blinker on and there's a car in your blind spot, those will actually be flashing at you rather than being solid lights. The only other time those illuminate is when you are in reverse. If there is a car coming perpendicular to the back of your car, both lights will flash and the car will beep at you to alert you that there is a car there. Another question that people commonly have has to do with these 3 buttons underneath here and how they work. So this is an up switch, a down switch, and then we call this the Eyesight switch. So you can think of these as up and down, and this is select. And what they're going to control is the center display here. And I'm going to go through with you the different things that will display up here. Right now we have the speed. I'm going to hit the down arrow, and it's going to show you the individual tire pressures. Once the car starts rolling, those will show up numbers on there. Anytime it drops below 30, it's a good idea to put air on your tires. But when you come into the dealership, or if you fill up your tires, most people fill them up to about 38-ish. I'm going to keep on going. This is just a compass. This is showing you whatever is now playing. So if you have the radio playing, it'll show you it up on there. This is an Eyesight switch. This is where you would access the settings menu. So this is where it can get a little bit complicated, but you would pull and hold this Eyesight switch. and it takes you to the settings menu. So you can change the clock to 24-hour, 12-hour clock. Screen settings, you can change the welcome screen, the goodbye screen. When you start your car, the needles move left to right, and you can turn that on or off. Change from standard to metric units, tire pressure units, languages, go back. So all I'm doing to scroll through these is up and down. Anytime there's a menu that I want to see, I will select the middle button to select it. And as you see, there are 8 pages. So screen settings, SRH is steering responsive headlights, so you can turn those on or off. Eyesight, there's eyesight settings to adjust the warning volume and the sensitivity of it. Blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert. This is the alert noise for the rear cross traffic alert, how loud you'd like it to be. So you have warning volume, and then go back. Reverse automatic braking, how loud do you want that to beep at you? And then if you press a bunch of buttons and you're not sure what you did, you can always hit default settings to reset everything. I'm gonna go back and continue through here. Time and temperature. This is showing your average miles per gallon for your current trip, as well as your fuel to empty. Your current miles per gallon, so that'll fluctuate up and down as you're accelerating and decelerating. This is how long the car's been running and how far you've traveled since the car's been turned on. And then back to the speed here. And so that is the multifunction display. And you can control that with those buttons there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. And please do smash the like button and the subscribe button if you enjoy my content.